In the latest episode of Influencers with Andy Serber, Yahoo Finance Editor-in-Chief Andy Serber spoke with actor Matthew McConaughey about the impact of COVID-19 on the film industry. Take a listen.
What we're doing right now is going to remain, to some extent, the new normal. Even if the vaccine, which is coming out soon, so they say, and if that becomes successful and more people get vaccinated, there are millions of people who are going to say, no, thank you. I practiced remotely doing business and having interactions this way. I prefer it. So how does this experience become more exclusive, more intimate, more customized? Because in many ways, I myself prefer this. Not with everybody, but in many ways I have. And then I have to look at my productivity, which I know many companies have looked at their productivity. And some of the companies, the productivity has gone up to see how adaptable their employees can be. So, but then I have to look across even my industry of acting. What's the future of theaters? What's the future of all these communal events? What's the future of my home city of Austin, which is a big hospitality town, which means you got to do it hand to hand. And then, there's a version that I see that of the world turning into of go live wherever you want on the planet. As long as you got 5G, you can be anywhere. We'll see how much that's the new normal, how much now is the future.
Have you talked to people in Hollywood much about how things are going to go from here and maybe starting up production or anything like that?
I haven't really. Most of my friends are still working, and they're telling me that it's going safely, and then there's all the rules and regulations of how they do it. I've been more conservative with our quarantine. I've got my 88-year-old mother with us. I've got my family, 3 children and my wife, and I'm also in a privileged position to where I've saved my money where I don't have to work today to pay my rent tomorrow. Right. So I'm in a privileged position to say I'm going to be more conservative with my quarantine. But I've also noticed that I've been quite productive through this. I've employed my children now to be part of my production team when we're shooting photo shoots and shooting ads. And they're starting to get adept with cameras and editing, et cetera. So who knows, I may come out of this and a couple of years and go, I'm a one-stop shop. I've got McConaughey kids in my production team. Let's, what do you want done? We'll shoot it. We'll make it.
McConaughey Family Productions.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Hey, so getting back to the book, there was a moment in there where you talked about one of your films that has a strong business slant. And you had a part in that, which really resonated with people as well, which is The Wolf of Wall Street. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, did that change your thinking about Wall Street, or did you research the financial services business when you were doing that part? I mean, that was pretty epic when you just came in and did that soliloquy, right?
Well, that character's soliloquy was awesome. I mean, I try to find what's called a launch pad line with every character, meaning it's a line that you read and you go, oh, if that character means this, then there's an encyclopedia I could write. And I'll make a whole rap on that character, meaning like in Dazed and Confused, there was a character, Wooderson, I played where he's hanging out in front of the pool yard, checking out the high school girls going by, and his buddy says, you got to cut that out, Wooderson. You're going to end up in jail. And Wooderson goes, no, man, that's what I love about those high school girls, man. I get older. They stay the same age. Well, I remember reading that line and going, well, who the heck is that? There's a book on that guy. If that guy believes that, if he's not saying that as an attitude or to be cool or anything, if he believes that, there's a book on a person who goes through life believing that. Well, with Wolf of Wall Street, I remember reading this line where he's telling the Belfort character that Leonardo played, the secret to this business is cocaine and hookers. And I went, who is that? I go, well, if this person really believes that? Well, there was a rap. So I just started writing and interviewing different brokers about how it was then, and how, you sort of create a mirage and you just kind of keep it going. And I wrote a lot of that rap, and luckily, I pitched it to Scorsese. He was all for it and went and just laid it down in that scene. It was a wonderful classic scene and so much fun to do.
Yeah, it was an awesome part of an awesome movie too.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit, Matthew, and I want to talk to you about some brand stuff because that's interesting. And it seems, to sort of fit with the road that you take, which is sticking to who you are. And, the Lincoln commercials and your brand ambassadorship with Lincoln, part of Ford, of course, has been very high profile. It's been, Ellen's done it. Jim Carrey, South Park. I mean, it's been all over the place, but it seems to have really worked, and you seem really comfortable in those commercials, and I think Lincoln's comfortable with you. Is that the case?
We're selling cars, we're selling automobiles, we're selling SUVs. Indeed. I mean, look, Lincoln and I and the Ford company have had a great relationship for since the beginning. Hudson Rouge, the ad agency, we're still working with the same people there, John Pierce over there. So myself, Lincoln, Ford, and the ad company, we're all very aligned in what we wanted to do. And so we came out with the first ads, and I was coming off of True Detective. And so I riffed on a bunch of those things that I say in the car, and those got parodied, Saturday Night Live and Ellen. And that's like, okay, great. And some of the parodies were actually very good. Some were better than others, but I don't mind impersonation. Me, just be really good at it. And some of them did some damn good work. Well, that sort of got attention and eyeballs on it. And we said early on, look, there's so many loud commercials out there. All the ads are like, who can turn up the volume the most? Well, what if we make such an intentional and deliberate commercial that's so quiet that it actually cuts through the noise? And I saw it happen. I was in sports bars on Sunday afternoons with loud males and females screaming over the game. And then the ad would come on and they'd go, and their head would turn to the TV to see the ad. So it worked. And we've maintained a very consistent tone, where what we've gotten to is where you want to get to, I believe, is where I've become synonymous with Lincoln and Lincoln has become synonymous with me. So we're feeding each other, and we continue. We just made some ads here recently that we're putting out, and the SUVs that are coming out of there are doing well, and it's helped some sales, and they've got a really good product. I'm particularly fond of that Navigator that I've had, which is a really good product.
Was there any connection to Lincoln Lawyer?
Not really.
Just a coincidence.
It's just really a coincidence. I mean, there was a connection. I had driven a Lincoln before and had one and owned one and drove one in my own life. But that was really just a coincidental callback that I'd done Lincoln Lawyer as well.